I think there we go. Good morning. My name is Roger Ince. I'm the emergency coordinator for Sacramento County. I'm the actual operations person for our office. I'm the one that gets out there and gets wet with the folks and gets their hands dirty, the best part of the job. Mike really covered a lot of the issues that we have in supporting the project of there. What I want to talk about is some of our relationships that we've developed with DWR, with our own selves. We, for the last 7 years, have been working together as one body, all 5 agencies, the 5 counties, DWR, Cal OES, and many other agencies, Bureau of Reclamation, Army Corps of Engineers, Coast Guard, and looking at planning and how do we deal with issues in the Delta. It's a unique area that we have to deal with. It's in California, it's hard to say that we're in a remote area, but it's remote. It has limited access into those areas. By putting this rock pile in these locations are a great piece to the puzzle for us, gives us another tool to immediately respond to. Some of the things that we've looked at over the years, we know communications is bad to begin with in the Delta. On a good day, how do we improve it? The 5 counties through DWR has been able to put together a plan for all 5 counties that we can light the entire Delta up with communications equipment today to be able to share information back and forth, readily looking at where issues are. It doesn't matter which county it is. What do we need to know? Where do we able to get equipment and move it timely so we can mitigate it to a lesser extent of the damage there. So we've been able to do part of that. In the last 3 years, we've been working with DWR in flood fighting exercising, actually putting the California Conservation Corps out there, Sacramento County Department of Water Resources, DWR staff, and other agencies putting them together and actually practicing how to fight that levee in there. We've been able to use Twitchell Island Reclamation District 1601 has been great. I always get a little nervous when we start trenching into a levee, but they assured us it was not a problem, and we've been able to actually put boils in there and actually get water bubbling up out of the ground so people can actually get the experience on what they have to do to do flood fighting. So those have been the things that we've been looking at. Now putting rock into the area gives us another tool to practice, to work at on how we can get in there faster, quicker, to be able to mitigate those issues in there. And it's through this program, through the relationship that we all have with DWR and as partners and as flood fighters in the area, what we're trying to do. We've got some exciting stuff that we're working on now with the next round of Delta funding into the Delta. Mike and his group have developed a great map, great tools that I think all of us are using across all 5 counties so that we have one consistent, one cohesive plan on how what maps we're looking at, not looking at 2 different maps going, how do they fit? That's a key part of it. Training. One of the concerns we have is we need to make sure that all of our folks are trained in the NIMS and SIMS requirements. It sounds like a minor detail, but that's the checkbox that gets us federal money reimbursed. So all 5 counties are working to be able to do that training so that we can check those boxes off. So if and when we have the levee fights in there and we need to get FEMA funding in there, we're able to check it off and get that money back. And that also extends down to the engineering firms. If they're out in the field actually doing the work and helping us with it, they too have to meet it. And that was kind of something that we didn't recognize right away. So that's one of the objectives this next go around, is to get those folks as well trained in there so we can check all of that off. And in future looks, we're looking at doing some stuff with looking at how do we, much like the national framework that we have from FEMA for the Stafford Act, how do we write a recovery plan framework for all 5 counties? It makes no sense that we go in there piecemeal, that Sacramento County does one thing, Mike's doing one thing, each county's doing something. Bring it together, bring a plan together so that we have a cohesive plan on how we're approaching it, and that includes putting it back together and how we're going to make some of these decisions and bring all of the parties that are involved in the Delta, not just the county individuals, but yourselves, the environmental organizations, Fish and Game. Everybody needs to be a part of that decision-making process. So we've been doing a lot of work in the background that you probably haven't seen. I think there's a lot of effort we're doing very successfully and look to do some more of this that all supports putting each one of these pieces of the puzzle together so that if and when we have the incident, we come together in a unified approach. Be happy to entertain any questions.
Any questions?